Welcome to another video, and this week I am fairly excited because we're going to be looking at a brand new pen from Kaweco. Now, you may already be familiar with the Kaweco Sport. This one is the AL Sport, and you may have also seen the plastic sports as well. Now, these particular pens, these two pens here, you actually write with the cap on the back and it makes it into a full-size pen. But what's exciting about today's pens is that Kaweco have come out with two new full-size pens. This is the Kaweco original, and we have one that has a 060 nib, and this is the other Kaweco original, so it gets a little bit complicated now because this has a 250 nib, or it's a nib that some people call a number 6. Now, you probably can't see here, but the two nibs are significantly different actually in terms of size. And that's another thing about these pens, because the 250 version is just a little bit wider and a little bit of a bigger barrel than the 060 version, which is a slimmer pen. So the question is, which one of these is better? Do they perform the same? And are they as gorgeous as I think they're going to be? Now, as always, Kaweco comes to you in this lovely gift tin here. If I remove the cardboard sleeve there, you'll see the tin here. Just to give you an example of the size of that, this is a tin, the same tin that the Kaweco Sport comes in. Remember, I showed you that Sport before. And this is a tin that the bigger pen comes in. So you can see there's a little bit of a size difference there. Just move that to one side. Now, if I crack open the tin, there we have the original in all its glory, and this one is the 060 version, and I'm just going to put the 250 version next to it here, and you may just be able to see that the 060 version here, that's a smaller nib version, is just a little bit a little thinner than the 250 version. Let's crack open both of these pens and have a look at the nibs. Here we go. And should be able to see that on the left here. This is the 250 nib, and on the right here is the 060 nib, and you can see there's a significant size difference between them. Right now, it's pretty interesting actually. I'm not sure why Kaweco decided to make two similar pens with two different size nibs, but I think it's really cool actually. And we certainly have customers. Some customers prefer the larger nib, some customers prefer the smaller nib. Now, in terms of the actual sizes of the pens, the 060 nib pen is actually slimmer. Like I said before, it's difficult to see on camera, but it's also, let's get that straight, it's also ever so slightly longer as well than the 250 nib. Now, 250 nib extends a little bit further as well, right? But the pen itself is a little bit shorter. Now, the body of this pen is aluminium, and you can see the cap has this gorgeous integrated clip, which is super solid there, and nice insignia on the back there of the cap. And yeah, the weight of this pen feels really good actually, and the aluminium feel of it is fantastic. And it's nice to get away from the plastic feel of the lower cost Kaweco pens as well. So this is a beautiful feeling pen. With all of the Kaweco pens, the premium pens, you got to remember you can exchange the nib out simply by grasping the nib, there you go, and turning the nib section like so. However, got to bear in mind that the 060 version won't fit the 250 version here, and that's because, and if I open up the 060 here, that's because the 060 collar on the nib is a lot smaller than the collar on the 250. You can see them here. Okay, so it simply won't fit. So make sure if you're going to exchange your 060 nibs, the smaller nibs, for example, you could have some calligraphy nibs, etc. Make sure you buy the 060 version of the pen, and if you like the 250 nibs, make sure you buy the 250 version of the pen. But anyway, Kaweco's mechanism for swapping out nibs is super, super cool. And I really, really love it. And I got to say, I love the feel and the size of this pen as well. One question I had actually is how well is it going to post? When you look at a Sport, it is made for posting, right? And it's made for posting to put the cap on the end and make it a full-size pen. Okay. One thing, even though this is a screw-on, that's a screw-on there. One thing I noticed with the original is it doesn't have the same shape as the Sport does on the end here. Okay. And it does post, but it doesn't post brilliantly. And I don't generally write with the cap posted on a pen anyway. So that doesn't bother me. It may bother some folks. It doesn't bother me at all. And I love the feel of the pen without the cap on the back anyway. It's just long enough for my hand. Feels great in the hand. And I never write with a posted cap anyway. So I'm pretty happy with that. But bear that in mind. If you had wondered about the length of the original compared to the Sport, you can see it here. Actually, there's the 060 version in the front here and the 250 version at the back here. And in the middle, we've got one of the AL Sports, latest iguana. It's gorgeous. And you can see that the original is both of these pens are ever so slightly shorter than the Sport. So just bear that in mind. Now, the other question that I have been asking myself is, will this converter fit into this pen? And the answer to that question, of course, is yes, but there's a couple of nuances here. Let's move this one out of the way first, and let's look at the 250. So if I undo the 250, and of course you get a cartridge in there with the pen, take off the separator cartridge there. We simply press the converter in, and Bob's your uncle. That fits just perfectly there. Great. And it's a friction fit. Now, get rid of that. Put that over there. Now let's look at the 060 version here, and we'll unscrew that. Take the separator, throw the cartridge away over here. And this is a little bit different because when you push that in, you do get somewhat of a friction fit, and it does fit reasonably well if you give it a bit of a shove. But what I noticed here is actually the Kaweco converters have a little thread in them now. So you can actually screw that down a little harder there. And the nib might spin around a little bit. You can just tighten that up. And there you go. That's nicely in there now. And that's not coming out at all. And we can just pop that there. And away you go. Super duper. So there you have it. I really love the Kaweco original. Question is, though, as usual, how well does it actually write? And which one is better, the 060 or the 250 nib version? Let's find out. And I thought I'd keep it nice and simple today, so I'm not going to use bottle ink in the converters. I'm just going to use these short international cartridges that actually come with the pens, and just to get those in, simply press until you hear the click. There's one, and we'll do the other one here. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get the ink actually flowing out of a cartridge the first time. Click. But just a little bit of work to get that going. If it doesn't flow straight away, and then we can try writing and see how it goes. Okie dokie, let's try the 250 first. That's a slightly bigger nib there, and I got the ink to flow pretty well in both of these pens. Let's move that to one side and give this a go. Love it. Goes really smoothly, actually. Yeah, and I love this. I love this big size nib. Actually, a pen feels really good in the hand. It's got a rounded nib section. Okay, you would think that it would rotate around a little bit, but it really doesn't do that too badly. I like the big nib. Now, think about some of these nibs, some of these manufacturers, they take a little bit of time to sort of ease in and start working really well. And I'm getting the sense that that's going to be the same for this nib here. But straight out of the box, it works really nicely. So let's give the 060 a go and see how that one works. Oh, nice. In fact, it looks thicker. Let me just inspect, because I thought we had the same nibs here. Fine. Oh, it's broad. Got that wrong. I thought I'd taken a fine nib 060. Obviously a bit of a blooper there. That is a broad nib. And straight out of the box, it's really, really smooth. You can see that line is a lot thicker than fine the 250 there. But both of these, yep, both of these are really, 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 really gorgeous pens, actually. I love the, I love the length of the pen. I think it's perfect in my hand, and I like the weight of it as well. So I think this new Kaweco Original is going to be a hit. I'm enjoying it. Enjoying.
I've been searching